There's no doubt that the British royal family is wealthy. Take a look at their homes, their means of transportation, their weddings, this jet-set lifestyle. They live like the richest people on earth. So, when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced they wanted a new financial relationship with the monarchy, it raised questions about how the British royal family really makes money and what exactly Harry and Meghan left behind. The search for these answers starts with some of the most iconic royal properties. This map shows some of the properties in the UK associated with the royal family. Balmoral Castle in Scotland, Savoy Chapel, nestled among buildings in central London, and Windsor Castle on the outskirts of London. Each of these three properties represents a different way the royal family builds their fortune. The first is one of the two that falls under the king's private wealth, which means if he were to leave the throne, it would still be his. These properties can be traced back to the 1800s when Queen Victoria bought them, and they've been passed down through generations. The other set of properties that contribute to their private wealth are the duchies. Am I saying that right? Duchies? Yes, it's duchies. There is something called the Duchy of Lancaster. This is an ancestral property dating back to the 14th century, now a portfolio of properties that provides private income for the Queen. This portfolio includes historic sites and lands throughout the UK, which is a lot. But the most profitable property is these blocks of commercial real estate in central London, including Savoy Chapel. There's also the Duchy of Cornwall, 130,000 acres of properties that include castles, holiday cottages, and a cricket stadium in London. Over the past 60 years, the duchies have become increasingly profitable. In 2019, they each made just over £20 million for the royal family. The income from the Duchy of Cornwall goes to the heir to the throne, Prince Charles. About £5 million of that went to his sons, William and Harry, in 2019. And the income from the Duchy of Lancaster goes to the king. The best estimate of the net worth of Queen Elizabeth II, the richest royal family member, is about $370 million. That's obviously rich, but it puts her nowhere near the richest people in the world. The illusion of the royal family's wealth is greater than their actual wealth because of the third way they make money. These properties are part of what's called the Crown Estate. The Crown Estate includes iconic landmarks like Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace, and the Tower of London. It also includes commercial real estate in London and lots of land, including the seabed around the UK. This group is worth billions of pounds, but it doesn't actually figure into the Queen's wealth. The reason behind that can be traced back to a time the royals really needed money. In the 18th century, you had a long list of German kings, the George from Bern, Sue to IV, and they wasted a lot of money, and they were terrible with money, and they got into lots of trouble with the government, and in the end, one of the George III said, "I'm broke. I'll give you all my crown lands." These were the personal lands owned by the king, and in return you give me a set amount of money. So they gave up ownership of all these lands in exchange for taxpayer money that would pay for the royal family's lifestyle. This part of their income today is called the sovereign grant. Between 2018 and 2019, that amounted to about £80 million. We don't know exactly how much of the sovereign grant went to Harry and Meghan, but it accounts for 5% of the couple's income as part of their royal titles. The other 95% comes from the Duchy of Cornwall. The sovereign grant funding doesn't go into the royal family's pockets. It's supposed to enable Her Majesty to carry out her official duties, like to travel, to pay her staff, and to maintain the royal residencies. Even so, taxpayer support for the monarchy has long been controversial, and that became evident when Windsor Castle caught fire in 1992. After 15 hours and 1.5 million gallons of water, with royal treasures scattered across the lawn like an upscale garage sale, it was discovered that there was no fire insurance. This sparked public outrage with statements like, "I don't see why we, as taxpayers, should foot the bill for the Windsor Castle fire when it's actually her house." This debate continues to this day, every time the Sovereign Grant Report is released.